Hi. So today our topic is simplifying expressions. So our goal for today is we're going to use the order of operations and the properties that we learned from the last section to simplify expressions. Now let's just go ahead and go over our basic order of operations. We have parentheses. Now again, parentheses actually is just not parentheses only. We're talking about the brackets, and of course the absolute value are also types of grouping symbols that belong to this first. So once we're done here, we're going to head over to the exponents, things that look like this. When we're done with this, then we can go into multiplication and division. And again, this is a left to right order. So if division happens to come first, going left to right, you do that first. Then once you're done with this entire section, then you move finally on to your last operation, which is adding and subtracting. And again, that's left to right order. Doesn't matter if subtraction comes first or addition comes first. When you come to this particular section, that's the order, the left to right. Alright, so let's go ahead and just jump into a problem. So here we're going to simplify numerical expressions. We're going to use the same PEMDAS in this case. So I'm going to look here, look for parentheses or grouping symbols, and I don't see any. So I'm going to move on to the next one, which is exponents, and I do see that. That means 3 to the second power, or 3 times 3. That's going to give me 9. And again, I'm going to rewrite everything that I did not work on. I worked on this, but everything else remains the same. Okay? Next one, negative 12 plus 9 plus 10 divided by 2. According to our steps, we've done parentheses or grouping symbols, we've done exponents, that's our exponents, it's done right there. And then so finally we're going to go ahead and move on to our adding and multiplying and dividing. So here we have 10 divided by 2. This gives me 5. Then I'm going to again bring down everything else that was not worked on. And this again here is a negative 12. So now I'm looking here, all I have left is addition question, so I'm just going to go straight left to right. Negative 12 plus 9, going to give me negative 3. Negative 3 plus 5, again using our addition rules when we're adding integers. A negative and a positive, you're actually subtracting. So when you're subtracting, that gives me a 2 positive, and then we're going to take the higher number. Next one. Here we have an absolute sign. That's the sign for the absolute value. And within the absolute value, we have grouping symbols as well as an exponent right here as well. And within the grouping symbol here, we have our square root. So here, let's go ahead and start on the very, very inner part. We know that we have to do parentheses first. We're going to start with this one. Since within the parentheses, you have a multiply right here and a subtraction right here, but that square root has to be done first, so we're going to go and do that, so that way we can manipulate it. 50 minus 1 is going to give me 49. And again, this is a square root. Here's my 2, and I'm going to rewrite everything as is, because all I've accomplished here is just to finish up that square root right here. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do the square root. Square root of 49 is going to give me 7. Here I have 2 times 7. Minus 4 to the second power, and again, absolute value of that. We're still not done with our parentheses, so we're going to do 2 times 7, that's 14, minus 4 to the second power, and again, in the square root symbol. Then we're going to have 14, because we have exponents next, we're going to take 14 minus 16, absolute value. 14 minus 16 right here is going to give us a negative 2. But remember, it's negative 2 an absolute value, so a negative 2 absolute value brings us back to 2. Because anything in the absolute value sign is going to give us our positive. Absolute value just basically means our distance from 0. Okay, so here we have a fraction type of question. So we're going to go ahead and tackle it how you see it. We're going to start off with the first one on the top. So you have 3 plus 9 times 2. Same thing with the PEMDAS again. You're going to multiply first. So you should be able to see 3 plus 18 over 2 minus 3 to the second power. Our next step here is we can go ahead and do the exponents right here. So we now have 3 plus 18 over 2 minus 9. 3 to the second power is our answer right there. Next, we can add them together. It's going to give us 21. 2 minus 9 is going to give us negative 7. And finally, we are going to finish it up with 21 divided by negative 7, and that is negative 3. And I know what you're saying at this point right here. We divided at the end. However, remember, think of each one as kind of a level. So we needed to finish up this first, finish up this first. Once we're done with this, and we got a single number, 21 and negative 7 on the bottom, then we were able to actually divide them. Because if you look right here, you really can't do much. Okay, so we had to bring it to this level. Once we got to this level, then we were able to go ahead and finish it up. Okay, now, this one is an entirely different type of problem. So here we have square root. We have on the top 11 plus 4 to the second power over 13 plus negative 10. And again, all of this is square root. So we're going to go ahead and tackle the things inside first. And just like what we did up here, we're going to go and tackle the first part and then tackle the second part. So here, within the square root, we now have 11 plus 16, because we have to do exponents right here. Then we have 13 plus negative 10. Okay? Then, let's go ahead and move on. Square root again. Take that. That's going to give me 27. And here, we can go ahead and add them together. It's 13 plus negative 10, which will give us 3. And then let's move this over. So let's do this. And unfortunately, I don't have enough space right here, but just follow along. Here we have square root of 27 over 3, which now gives us square root of 9, because we divide 27 divided by 3. Square root of 9 is going to give us 3. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and combine certain things like properties and the order of operations, and we're also going to be able to combine like terms as well. So let's look at this part right here. So we're going to first of all look at this problem, and you have 5 times the quantity of x plus 3 minus 7x. So we're going to go ahead and do the distributive property here first. So 5 times x, 5 times 3, so it's going to give us 5x plus 15 minus 7x. Now, from what we learned before with combining like terms, we're going to circle the ones that have the same variable. So these two have the same variable, and then we get to go ahead and put them together. We have a positive 5 and a negative 7. Now, going back to what we learned about positives and the negatives, if we have more negatives here, when you add them together, you're actually going to subtract 7 minus 5, which gives us 2. So that gives us 2x, this and this together, and then plus 15. Because this doesn't have an extra variable like this, that is your answer to this question. Alright, now let's have a look at this one. So here we have 2b plus 5 minus the quantity of 8b plus 6 plus 3 quantity of b minus 2. So let's go ahead and look through here, and we're going to go ahead and kind of do all of the distributive property things first. So let's kind of look right here. That's one that comes out the most. So here we have 3b, 3 times negative 2 is going to give us negative 6. So again, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite everything, because we did not work on these yet. Alright, there is something kind of special here with that negative right here, that minus. Because remember, you're subtracting this entire thing. So what we can do here is we can actually distribute. Since there's no more other things to do, we're going to distribute this minus to everything inside here. So I'm going to rewrite this. We don't need that parentheses anymore because there's nothing, the operation here doesn't allow us to add together. This minus, we're going to go ahead and subtract 8b, because we're subtracting the 8b. We're also subtracting 6, which means we need to change that. It was a plus 6, but remember, we're subtracting this entire thing, so now you've changed the sign of that 6. Another way you can look at it is think of this as a negative 1 times that together, you'll get this. Okay, so now you have these. We're going to go ahead and circle or combine certain like terms. So I have that, that's 2b. And notice that I'm taking the negative sign or the minus sign with the 8b. And again, I'm taking the plus sign again with that. And let's go ahead and just go one step further and box off our constants. Okay, so let's put them together. So here we have 2b minus 8b. So a 2 minus 8 is going to give us negative 6b, and then negative 6b plus the 3 is going to give us a negative 3b. Then next we're going to go ahead and put this and this and this together. So positive 5 minus 6 is going to give us negative 1. Negative 1 minus 6, and you have to remember your addition and subtraction rules for integers. Negative 1 minus 6, you're actually subtracting more, so you're going to have negative 7. This is our final answer for this particular problem, just because you have no b on this part right here.